Evan met Tara on a chilly November night in Chicago, swiping right on a dating app after a string of flops. At 30, he built a decent life as a graphic designer, freelance gigs, a cozy loft, a quiet routine, but romance eluded him. Tara, 28, a barista with a sharp wit and a laugh that lit up rooms, changed that. Their first date stretched from coffee to a dive bar, her hazel eyes locking on his as she teased his nerdy Star Wars shirt. "You're cute for a geek," she'd said, and he was hooked. The first year was golden, movie nights curled on his couch, her sketching while he designed, weekend hikes snapping photos of her against autumn leaves. He'd never clicked with anyone like this. She got his quirks, his late-night creative bursts. By year 2, he proposed, down on one knee in Millennium Park, her yes ringing through the frost. Evan pictured a life, kids, a house, her coffee mugs cluttering his sink. She moved in, her plants crowding his loft, her playlist drowning his silence. Friends called them solid, enviable. But cracks crept in year 3. Tara's shift stretched, busy season, she'd say, breezing in late, perfume sharp, not hers. Evan brushed it off. Trust was their glue. She'd snap if he asked, stop hovering. And he'd back down, guilt gnawing. Her phone buzzed constantly, locked tight. She'd laugh it off. Work group chat. He wanted to believe her, needed to. The ring on her finger, his grandma's, reset, still sparkled, a promise he clung to. She'd kiss him quick, distracted, and he'd bury doubts in work, sketching logos till dawn. One night, editing a client pitch, her phone lit up beside him, unlocked, rare. A text, "Miss you tonight, babe." Not his name. Evan's stomach dropped, the loft's quiet deafening. Tara slept, oblivious, her hair fanned on his pillow. He stared, the message burning 3 years, a ring, unraveling in pixels. He didn't wake her, couldn't. Tomorrow, he'd dig truth over trust now. She'd been his muse, his future. Now, she was a question he'd answer, no matter the cost. Evan barely slept. Tara's text, "Miss you tonight, babe," a splinter in his mind. Morning came, gray and heavy. She brewed coffee, humming, oblivious to his stare. "Late again?" he asked, voice tight. She shrugged, knew manager's a jerk, and darted out, leaving her mug half full. Evan's gut churned. Her lies stank worse than her burned espresso. He wasn't paranoid. He'd ignored too much. Late nights, locked phones, her edge when pressed. 3 years, a proposal, and now this. He called Jake, his college buddy turned bartender, spilling it over the phone. "She's dodging, man. Saw her last week, corner bar, some dude, cozy." Evan's chest tightened. Jake's bar, her work night. He needed proof, not hunches. Freelance cash was tight, but he hired a PI, Dan, gruff, ex-cop, recommended by a client. 2 weeks, photos, texts, $800, Dan said. Evan wired it, hating himself but needing truth. Tara came home late again, training, and crashed, her phone under her pillow. He didn't touch it. Dan would dig. Days dragged. Evan designed. Distracted. Tara breezier than ever. She'd kiss his cheek, chatter about customers, but her eyes flicked away, guarded. Then called Friday. "Got something. Meet me." Evan drove to a diner, hands sweaty, and Dan slid over a folder, photos, timestamps. Tara, laughing, arm around a guy tall, slick, outside a motel. Texts hacked from her cloud. "Can't wait, love." He's clueless. Evan's throat closed. Love, not him. 3 years, her ring, mocked in grainy shots. He drove home, folder burning on the seat, her betrayal a blade. She was out, shift, and he paced the loft, her plants mocking him, her sketches on his fridge a lie. He built this, loved her quirks, her chaos, while she'd built another life. Dan's call lingered. Confront her, or I dig more. Evan didn't need more. This was enough, photos, words, her with him. He'd wait, let her walk in, see his face. She'd explain, or she wouldn't either way, the ring was off. Tara thought him blind, loyal. He'd been both, till now. The loft's silence roared, her absence a preview of what he'd choose, truth over her, no matter how it cut. Evan sat rigid on the couch, the PI's folder open, photos of Tara, her lover, motel neon glaring. She breezed in at 11, coat dripping, crazy night, her smile faltering as she saw him. "What's wrong?" she asked, tossing keys, casual. He slid the photos across the coffee table, her with him, arms tangled, undeniable. Her face strained, eyes wide, then narrowed. "You spied on me?" "Had to," Evan said, voice steel. "You're cheating." "Explain." She laughed sharp, cold, crossing arms. "Yeah, I am. So what? You're lucky I stayed this long. His jaw dropped. 3 years, his ring, and this? Lucky, he echoed, standing. You're screwing some guy, lying, and I'm lucky? She smirked, unrepentant. I'm out of your league, Evan. You'll never find anyone like me smart, fun, me. He gets it. You don't? He stared, her words a punch, arrogance, not guilt. Get out, he said, flat, pointing to the door. She scoffed. You're pathetic, grabbing her coat. Plants, sketches, hers now. You'll regret this, she tossed back, slamming the door. Evan sank, folder crumpling, her taunt echoing. Never find anyone like me. Rage burned. Pathetic? He'd loved her, built a life. She'd trashed it, bragged about it. He didn't cry, just packed her leftovers. Mugs, a sweater, dumped them in a box by the curb. The loft felt gutted, her chaos gone, his space raw. Jake called. You okay? Evan rasped. She's gone. Said I'd never do better. Jake cursed. She's trash. You will. Evan hung up, staring at the ring. His grandma's, hers no more. He'd trusted her, blinded by her laugh, her edge. Now it was ash. Tara thought him small, replaceable. Her lover got her, she'd sneered. Sleep dodged him. He sketched instead. Angry lines, dark shapes, purging her. She'd gambled he'd beg, stay broken. He wouldn't. The PI's proof. Her words lit a fire, not despair, but defiance. She'd cheated, mocked him, but he'd rise. Better, not like her, but beyond her. The loft's silence settled, a blank slate now. Evan gripped the ring, jaw tight. Her exit wasn't his end, it was his start. Evan woke to an empty loft, Tara's absence a hollow victory. Saturday, he scrubbed her trace. Coffee stains, her shampoo's floral stink, reclaiming his space. The ring went in a drawer, its sparkle dulled by her sneer. You'll never find anyone like me. He'd prove her wrong, not for her, but him. Work beckoned, freelance deadlines loomed, a lifeline now. He pitched a logo for a craft brewery, landed it, $3,000, a start. Days blurred into designs, bold, sharp, his anger fueling art. Jake dragged him out Sunday, beer, wings, a dive bar's bus. Forget her, Jake said, clinking bottles. She's a leech. Evan nodded, sipping, Tara's taunt fading in the noise. He posted art online, portfolios, sketches, clients bit, a bookstore, a band. Cash flowed, rent covered, the loft's quiet filling with purpose. He ran mornings, lakefront trail, wind biting, legs pumping, shedding her weight. A month in, he smiled, genuine, not forced. Tara's exit cracked him open, he'd been stronger. Friends rallied. Dinners, game nights, pushing him past her shadow. You're better off, they said. He believed it now. He dated once. Coffee with a teacher, nice but flat. No spark, no rush. Fine. He'd wait, build first. 6 months post-breakup, a gig hit big. A startup's branding, $10,000, remote. Evan grinned, laptop humming. Freedom, not her cage. Tara's voice lingered. Out of your league. But he'd climbed higher. Her league irrelevant. August, he scrolled X. Old college crew chatting a reunion. Lena popped up. Art class, quiet, brilliant. Now a tech CEO in Seattle. Evan, you're in she? Miss your doodles. She posted, playful. He laughed, typing back, still doodling. You're the boss now. She DM'd, long chat. Her startup killing it, his art thriving. Always liked you, she admitted, shy even online. Evan blinked. College Lena, mousy, crushing on him? He'd been clueless, terror-bound then. They swapped numbers, her voice later, warm, sharp, reigniting something. Tara's brag echoed. Weaker now. Evan wasn't chasing like her. He'd found different, maybe better. The call ended, a date set, her in Chicago soon. He hung up, loft glowing. Her laugh not Tara's, but his future's. Evan met Lena in September, her Seattle flight touching down for a tech conference in Chicago. A year since Tara's exit, he'd rebuilt, freelance thriving, loft his own, her taunt a distant sting. Lena texted, here coffee. And he picked a spot by the river, nerves buzzing. College flashed back. Her in art class, sketching circuits, him doodling robots, Tara loud in his orbit. Lena'd been quiet, a friend, her crush invisible to him then. She walked in, tall, dark hair cropped, confidence sharper than he remembered. "Evan," she grinned, hugging him, her coat tech chic, not college thrift. Coffee stretched to lunch, her startup, neural apps, booming, his designs, bold, in demand. "You've changed," she said, eyes warm. "You too." He shot back, her laugh easy, not Tara's edge. She'd liked him then, your robots were cute, and he'd missed it, Tara's glare blinding him. Now, single, he saw her, smart, driven, real. They walked the riverfront, her conference forgotten, his deadlines paused. "Long distance," she teased, "Seattle far." "Worth a shot," he said, her hand brushing his, intentional. She stayed the weekend, dinner at his loft, her marveling at his art, him at her code talk. Sunday, she flew back, a kiss at the gate, soft, promising. Texts lit up after, "Miss you already," hers, same, his. Tara's "never do better," faded. Lena was more, CEO, yes, but human, not a trophy. Evan worked, smiled, Lena's calls nightly, her voice grounding him. October, he flew west, her world, glass offices, Puget Sound gray and vast. She cooked, badly, laughing, him sketching her, their college spark alive, deeper now. "I waited," she admitted, shy. "Glad you did," he said, her hand in his, Tara's shadow dust. A year ago, he'd been wrecked, cheated, mocked. Now, he thrived. Lena his mirror, not his muse. She left Monday, him Tuesday, long distance, real. Tara's boast was a joke. Evan hadn't just found better, he'd found right. The plane hummed, Chicago nearing, his loft waiting, her next visit planned. He'd built this, not her, Lena the bonus, not the goal. Evan glowed through fall, Lena's orbit pulling him higher. A year since Tara's betrayal, her motel photos, her sneer, felt like another life. Freelance boomed, $15,000 in gigs, a brewery chain now, and he'd swapped runs for gym, muscle filling his frame. Lena's calls anchored him, Seattle nights, her voice crisp over coffee tales, his Chicago days spilling back. November, she flew in. Thanksgiving, his loft warm with takeout turkey, her laughing at his burnt rolls. "You're hopeless," she teased, kissing him, her tech polish softening. They synced, her coding late, him designing, texts bridging miles. "Crush since college," she'd said, and he saw it now. Her glances then, his terror blindness. December, he visited, her penthouse sleek, her team awed at the artist boyfriend. They hiked Rainier, her boots muddy, his sketchpad full, her profile, the peaks. "Propose yet?" she joked, wind whipping. He grinned. Soon. Half serious, her blush real. Tara's, "out of your league," was laughable. Lena was leagues beyond, not flaunting it. Back in Chicago, Evan thrived. New clients, a gallery showing his art. Lena's app launched, millions downloaded, her face on tech blogs. "My boyfriend's hotter," she tweeted, his sketch attached. He blushed, buzzing. Friends saw it. "She's a catch," Jake said, awed. Evan nodded. She was, but mutual, not a pedestal. January, Tara texted, new number. "Hey, miss you." He stared. Her life, he'd heard, tanked, job lost, guy dumped her. "Heard you're happy," she added, fishing. Evan smirked, her brag crumbling, his rising. He called Lena, told her, her laugh sharp. "Reply?" he asked. "Up to you," she said, trusting. He typed, "You said I'd never do better. I did way better. Bot, blocked, done." Tara's shadow vanished. Lena's light stayed. February, he sketched a ring, simple, hers, planning Seattle, a question. She'd visit soon. Valentine's, her conference excuse. Evan cooked, better now, loft warm, her flight nearing. A year ago, Tara's knife cut deep. Now, Lena healed it, not a rebound, but a revelation. He'd never chase, like Tara. He'd found Lena, real his. The city hummed outside, his life full, her plane landing soon, his future hers to shape. Lena landed Valentine's Day, Chicago snow dusting her coat, as Evan met her at O'Hare. A year since Tara's motel pics, her taunt, "You'll never find anyone like me," was a ghost he'd banished. Lena hugged him, her tech CEO polish melting into a grin. "Missed you." Her bag light, her stay short, but his. They drove to his loft, her hand on his, radio soft. Her playlist, not Tara's chaos. Cute place, she said, eyeing his art, sketches of her now framing walls. He'd cooked. Pasta, edible, her laughing at his effort. Better than Seattle, she teased, wineglass raised. They talked, her apps surge, his gallery buzz. Equals, not her leading, him trailing. She'd crushed on him in college. Your dumb robot sketches, she said, smirking, him clueless then. Tara allowed in his life. Now he saw her, brilliant, warm, not a model sheen but a mind he matched. Night deepened, snow falling, her staying, couch turned bed, her close, no rush. Long distance works, she murmured, but I hate leaving. Morning, they walked, lakefront, her scarf his gift, wind biting. Stay longer? He asked, half joking. Tempting, she said, her conference ending tomorrow. He'd planned it. Ring sketched, not bought, testing her vibe. She sensed it. You're scheming. She grinned, sharp. He laughed. Maybe. Tara's echo, out of your league, was dirt under this snow. Lena was his league, built not borrowed. She flew back Monday, kiss lingering, see you soon. Her promise, his too. Evan worked, her call nightly, Seattle rain, his Chicago frost, bridging it. Tara's text lingered, blocked, but proof. She'd lost, he'd won. Not spite, just fact. Lena's app hit headlines, tech stars rise, him proud, not dwarfed. Friends saw, she's a boss, Jake said. She's mine. Evan thought, no boast. March loomed, her next visit, his plan firming. Ring, question, her. A year ago, Tara's knife, cheating, mocking, had gutted him. Now, Lena's light, steady, real, lifted him. He sketched her again, loft quiet, her flight booked. Tara's never was his always, Lena his proof, his future, not her past. Evan plodded through March, Lena's next visit his deadline. A year since Tara's betrayal, her motel fling, her you'll never do better. Felt like a faded scar, not a wound. He'd thrived, freelance soaring, $20,000 in gigs, his loft a gallery of his art, not her mess. Lena's calls fueled him, Seattle's buzz, her apps millions, her voice warm, not Tara's edge. Chicago soon, she texted, April set, his chance. He'd sketched a ring, silver, sleek, her style, saved for it, $1,000 budgeted, no rush till right. He shopped at Solo, jeweler downtown. Picking stones, her college crush's guide. Simple, strong, he told the clerk, her in mind. Tech CEO, not flash, just Lena. Tara's ring, grandma's, gaudy, sat in a drawer, hers no more. This was new his. He worked nights, brewery campaign, logo sharp, cash stacking, life steady. Jake saw proposing. Evan grinned, maybe, testing it aloud. Lena'd hinted, long distance sucks, her nudge, his cue. April, she texted, landing Friday 3 days. Evan prepped, loft clean, dinner planned, ring boxed. He'd ask Saturday, riverfront, their spot, not kneeling, just them. Tara's taunt echoed, weaker, out of your league, laughable now. Lena was beyond leagues, a partner, not a prize. He'd rebuilt post-Tara, gym, art, grit. Lena the bonus, not the fix. She'd waited, college glances, him blind. Now he saw clear. Friday, he'd greet her. Saturday, he'd shift them. Her yes, his hope, not hers to prove. Thursday, he sketched, her face, ring beside it, nerves sparking. Tara's text, months back, miss you, was ash. He'd replied, blocked, done. Her life, rumors said, jobless, alone, didn't gloat him. He'd moved, not sank. Lena's app trended, tech queen, him sketching her logo, proud. Friends buzzed, she's a catch, him nodding, we're a catch. The loft glowed, her flight nearing, snow gone, spring hinting, his plans set. A year ago, Tara's knife, cheating, bragging, had floored him. Now, Lena's trust, quiet, real, raised him. He'd ask, not for spite, but love, her his future, Tara his footnote. Lena landed Friday, April's breeze soft, as Evan met her at the gate. A year since Tara's motel pics, her you'll never do better sneer, faded to nothing. Lena hugged him, too long, her tech polish shedding, just her. They drove, her hand on his, loft waiting. Dinner simmering, ring in his pocket, a weight he liked. Smells good. She grinned, dropping her bag, his art catching her eye. Her face, sketched, framed now. Saturday, they walked, riverfront, sun glinting, her scarf his gift flapping. He'd planned it. Casual. Them, no grand stage. Lena. He started, stopping by the water, her turning, curious. You waited. College, me clueless. Now I'm not. She smiled, sharp, spit it out. He pulled the box, silver ring, sleek, hers, her eyes widening. Marry me, he asked, voice steady, no Neil, just him. She laughed, soft, real. Yes, idiot, grabbing him, kissing hard. The ring slid on, perfect, her, I waited, a whisper now sealed. They sat, river lapping, her leaning in. Seattle or Chi? He shrugged, we'll figure it. Long distance done, her app's cash, his art's rise, options, not chains. Tara's taunt, never do better, was a joke. Lena was better, not flash, but fit. Sunday they planned. Her flight back, him following May, ring hers now. Tara'd hate this. He mused. Lena smirked, her loss. He nodded. Her loss, his win, not spite, just truth. Monday she flew. Love you, her gate goodbye his too. Evan drove home. Loft hers too now, sketching their future. Seattle loft, Chicago roots, hybrid life. Tara's text, her crash, job gone, guy ditched, didn't touch him. He'd soared, not sank. Lena texted, rings dope, him grinning, her CEO edge his. A year ago, Tara's knife, cheating, mocking, had gutted him. Now Lena's yes, quiet, fierce, built him. He'd asked, she'd answered. His story hers, Tara's echo silenced. Evan packed May, Lena's yes, a year's cap since Tara's betrayal. Motel pics, her you'll never do better brag, now dust. He'd rebuilt, freelance peaked, $25,000 banked, loft sold, Seattle bound. Lena waited, her penthouse theirs, her app's millions easing the move. He'd landed a gig there, tech branding, her nudge, his art meshing with her code. Tara's taunt was a relic. Lena, college crush turned fiancé, was his proof. Better, not like her, but his. He flew west, Chicago fading, her picking him. Welcome home. Her grin wide, ring glinting. They settled, penthouse sleek, his sketches on walls, her plants not Tara's chaos. June, they hiked, Rainier again, her muddy, him sketching, ring hers, his promise kept. Told you I'd wait, she teased. He kissed her, glad I caught up. Friends cheered. Jake flew out. She's a boss. Evan nodding, we're a team. Tara's echo, out of your league, was laughable. Lena was his league, built together. July, Tara emailed, heard you're engaged. Happy for you. A lie, her life, gossip said, a wreck. Barista job lost, alone. Evan deleted it. Her crash didn't gloat him. He'd moved, not mourned. Lena's app soared, tech titan. Him sketching her logo, proud, not dwarfed. They planned, wedding small, fall, her coding, him designing, no rush. Kids? She asked, smirking. Maybe, he grinned, her laugh is home. August, he stood on their balcony, sound gray, city buzzing, her beside him. A year ago, Tara's knife, cheating, mocking, had floored him. Now, Lena's love, steady, real, lifted him. He'd never chased, like Tara found Lena, his match, not her shadow. She leaned in, happy. Him nodding, yeah, you. Her, always sealed it. Evan's life, Chicago loft, thrift sketches, had burned, rebuild in Seattle's glow. Tara's never was his now, Lena his future, not her past. The ring shone, his art hers, their story bold, cheated, crushed, then crowned.